NewsNation media contributor Steve Krakauer, executive producer of the Megyn Kelly Show over on SiriusXM. Steve, it's always good to see you. So in just a span of a few days here, you have Meta ending its fact-checking and DEI initiatives. Then you have Zuckerberg going on the most popular podcast ever to bash the Biden administration a week before Trump takes office. How do you read this? Is this him trying to curry favor for the next 4 years?
Well, I think those two things you bring up there are very much related. The idea of going public with the changes there, ending what I would describe as the censorship era of Meta, of Facebook, and doing so and making other announcements. Certain civic content, political speech is now allowed on the platform, and they're moving some of the areas from California to Texas. I mean, all of those things go hand in hand with the idea of then him going to Austin, to Joe Rogan's studio, to expand on this in a very interesting, and I have to say, really enlightening, beyond just the idea of what we learned about from, which we've kind of heard a little bit about through some congressional investigations and through Mark Zuckerberg himself going on Rogan earlier last year and talking a little bit about the Biden administration, obviously expanding on it here. So I think those things are related, but I have to say, I think it goes way beyond just the idea of Donald Trump taking office next week. I think this is much deeper. And for those who are a little bit leery of this, certain people on the left that love fact checking, they should be a little bit more concerned, because I think this shows a real shift in Mark Zuckerberg personally. He talked about jujitsu and what that did to his life and the way he runs his business and the way he thinks about masculine energy. There's a lot of things here, the way he thinks that there needs to be a replacement of our cultural elites. This is maybe hand in hand with the MAGA movement, but that MAGA movement now goes way beyond Donald Trump and just him taking office. I think this is a real cultural vibe shift that is going to really withstand both whatever comes in over these next year, 4 years, and really is much bigger than Donald Trump.
Yeah. Well, speaking of being leery, you also, Steve, have conservatives say that they're skeptical that Facebook has turned over a new leaf when it comes to content moderation. As of right now, do you see this being more of a PR move rather than a full-scale embrace of free speech?
I don't think so. I would put myself in the category of someone who's an independent who is very skeptical of social media companies saying, oh, we're now just going to not censor content like Mark Zuckerberg did. So, I believe it when I see it. But I have to say this. I listened to the entire podcast. I believe that from a principles point of view, Mark Zuckerberg's heart is now in the right place. Now, the question is, can he get his entire gigantic company in line to coincide with where he wants his company to be? That's going to take a massive change in the way things were run for the last, 4 to 8 to 10 years. And he describes it as a 10-year run. This idea of how censorship came in, the way his company was targeted after 2016, the way COVID really changed the equation, and he believed that we should censor content because it is dangerous to put certain information out there. And now he has changed his mind on that. So it's going to take, this gigantic tanker of a tech company that he now has to completely reverse course. So it's going to take time, and it's going to take real, standing your ground. But I think his heart's in the right place. So I do believe that he's taking actual actionable steps that are going to make a real impact for Americans and their ability to speak freely.
Well, I mean, he just in that podcast dropped bombshell after bombshell after bombshell. We'll see how Meta changes here in the first few days, weeks, and months of a new Trump administration. Steve Krakauer, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Markie.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.